NoDQ.com presents the Top 5. There have been many memorable moments in professional wrestling over the decades, but what is the best of the best? The views expressed in this video are solely the subjective opinions of Aaron Rift and are for entertainment purposes only. That being said, let's get started with this edition of the Top 5. Top 5. Top 5. Top 5. Top 5. Hey everybody, Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com, and this is my top 5 video of my favorite finishers in WWE history, my all-time favorite finishing moves. Now, before we get started, let me make it clear, this is just my opinion. This is very subjective. I will start with my honorable mentions before I get to my top 5. First up, the sharpshooter. Bret Hart's sharpshooter. Owen Hart also used the sharpshooter, and of course Sting had the Scorpion Deathlock, which was a variation of the sharpshooter. The sharpshooter stands out to me because Bret Hart won a lot of matches with the sharpshooter. He won major championships, world title, intercontinental title. Once you were in the sharpshooter, there was little chance of getting out of it. My other honorable mentions, one of them is the pedigree, Triple H's finishing move. When you hit the pedigree, your opponent was not getting up. And some would say, when Triple H hit the pedigree, somebody was buried from being hit with that move. The pedigree was very successful for Triple H. The rock bottom, the Rock's move. The Rock, larger than life personality, the most electrifying man. So of course, he could take pretty much any move and get it over. People's elbow. But the rock bottom was his finisher. It's the Uranagi, but the Rock's version had that little extra oomph. The intensity of it, the Rock made it special. The leg drop. Now, the leg drop is a very basic move. You just jump in the air and drop the leg on somebody and you land on your ass. But Hulk Hogan won so many big matches with the leg drop, it has to be on the list. Like the leg drop beat Andre the Giant. The leg drop beat Randy Savage. The leg drop was the finishing move and very few were able to kick out of it. And my last honorable mention is the spear. Multiple wrestlers have used the spear. I actually think it's a little bit overused, but it's a great finishing move. Roman Reigns has done so much with it in WWE, and also Edge got a lot of use out of the spear as a finishing move. And of course, Bill Goldberg wasn't actually his finisher because he had the jackhammer, although in later years, some guys he could not pick up for the jackhammer, thus the spear had to be the move to get the job done. All right, now we get to the top 5 finishing moves in WWE history. My number 5 is the Undertaker's Tombstone Piledriver. Not too many people kicked out of this move. The piledriver is a very common move in wrestling. We've seen numerous people use the tombstone, but the Undertaker's Tombstone was a variation that worked for the character, and I associate the Tombstone Piledriver with the streak. So many wrestlers went down to the Tombstone Piledriver. The Undertaker had 21 victories at WrestleMania with the Tombstone Piledriver. Has to be on the list because how many other finishers did so well at the grandest stage in wrestling? Not too many. Arguably, the Tombstone was at the top. My number 4 finisher is the ankle lock. Now, Kurt Angle is perhaps best known for the ankle lock, but Ken Shamrock did it first in WWE, and it was the first submission move where people were actually tapping out. It was something that was not seen before in WWE, only in mixed martial arts. Ken Shamrock brought that into WWE with tap outs, and of course Kurt Angle had a lot of success with it. He tapped out Hulk Hogan with the ankle lock. That's crazy. And then he puts that extra pressure on you. He cinches it in further, and there's really no escape. My number 3 move is what I consider to be the greatest tag team move in wrestling history, and that's the 3D, the Dudley Death Drop, also known as the 1D. The Dudley boys took out so many people with that move. The crowd would yell out 3D as they hit the move. They put people through tables with it. The fans just loved that finishing move during the Attitude Era. And then the Usos, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, adopted that move, the one and done, and won numerous matches during their lengthy run as tag team champions. And now my number 2 finisher is the RKO, Randy Orton's take on the Diamond Cutter, which Diamond Dallas Page used, and many wrestlers over the years utilized the Diamond Cutter and variations of it, a cutter. But the RKO is the one that really stands out the most to me. He coined the phrase RKO out of nowhere. He could hit it at any time, and to be fair, DDP did the same thing. But Randy Orton took it to a whole new level. The way he just slid in like a snake, like a viper, hitting that move. And we had so many great RKO spots over the years, too. I think of Evan Bourne going for that shooting star press and Randy jumping up and hitting him with the RKO. Perfect timing for it. And then at WrestleMania with Seth Rollins going for the curb stomp, and Randy Orton turns it into an RKO. Just all the different cool ways Randy Orton was able to hit that move. I remember Christian coming out of the corner, getting hit with an RKO. So many great RKO spots, and fans would imitate it. You would see kids giving their friend an RKO into the swimming pool, and the video would go viral. But my number 1, speaking of viral, is the Stone Cold Stunner. Steve Austin became a household name just based off of the Stone Cold Stunner alone. Steve Austin was on his way to being WWE's top star in 1997, but unfortunately he got hurt at the hands of Owen Hart at SummerSlam in 1997. When he was hurt, they had to do something with him so he could stay on TV and not lose his momentum. So we started giving all the authority figures the Stone Cold Stunner. And then he would just come out there on Raw. Austin did not even need to wrestle. That's how over this finishing move got. Steve Austin could just come out there and give somebody a stunner, and the crowd would be sent home happy. They would have their nights made if Steve Austin just came out there and hit the stunner on somebody. And he usually gave multiple stunners. He would just stun people left and right. The referee, the timekeeper, anybody he could get his hands on. Like, there was an episode of Raw, I remember, where he would just come out there throughout the show and give people stunners. The stunner was truly iconic, and there were some bad stunners that people took, but overall, the stunner is my all-time favorite finisher, and lots of people took it tremendously, like The Rock and Scott Hall would take these great bumps for the Stone Cold Stunner, and like the RKO, people would copy it. They would do it in backyard wrestling. They would do it at McDonald's, at Walmart, hit people with the stunner and post it online and get hits. Like, that's how iconic the Stone Cold Stunner is. Definitely my number 1 all-time favorite finisher. And of course, kayfabe-wise, won him a lot of titles. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts. What are your top 5 greatest finishing moves in WWE history? Leave a comment on YouTube. Let me know your thoughts, and stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors.